Don't you just love when nowadays you're watching a superhero show, but it's new and it has a different take on the superhero genre and it's unique, it's something refreshing? Because I absolutely love that. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we're doing a review for one of my favorite shows, The Boys Season 2. Now, Season 1 came out last year, and The Boys was a pleasant surprise to last year. I absolutely loved that season. I didn't do a review on it, but all you gotta know is that Season 1 I absolutely loved. I love their unique take on the superhero genre, where it's all kind of like a business. And, and these superheroes are like, they're kind of like athletes or like celebrities. Everything has to do with contracts and PR movements and what your public image is. It's bloody, it's violent, it's just different to all the superhero things we have coming at us on all of these different platforms. Now, before I jump to the review for Season 2, there's a few things that you gotta know. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I really appreciate all of that. We're trying to grow, so you doing all of that will really help. And also, this is going to be a spoiler review for Season 2, so if you haven't finished Season 2 yet, go finish it and then come back here to listen to the review. Now I'm just going to recap the ending of Season 1 because I assume since you're here for the Season 2 review, you've already seen Season 1 and Season 2, so you know what Season 1's about, so I don't need to recap for you. You know who all the players are, you're good to go. So Season 1 ended with the fact that we find out that Becca is alive and Butcher takes a huge L. She's alive. She gave birth to Homelander's son named Ryan. I thought that Season 2 was really going to focus on that and their kind of relationship, and that was going to be the main story. Never did I think that Season 2 was going to take a turn into introducing another villain by the name of Stormfront, who's going to be a racist Nazi. I never thought that we would have taken this turn. So Season 2 has a lot of those elements that we all really like from Season 1, meetings, PR movements, who's got fans, who doesn't have fans, what the public thinks of VOT, what VOT is doing to the public. It's all that, Now that I describe it in my head, thinking about like a superhero show, like PR movements, meetings, all that stuff doesn't sound too exciting. But the way The Boys does it, it's just exciting. So first, let's start talking about the story. Now, there's a few moving pieces this season. First, we do have that Butcher, Becca, and Homelander and Ryan kind of thing happening. What is Butcher gonna do? Is he gonna get Becca? Is he gonna save her? What is Homelander gonna do with Ryan? Homelander is kind of wanting to be Ryan's father because Homelander's whole thing this season is that he is just craving love, I would say. He is craving to have a connection with somebody. He feels like he's an outsider because of the way he was raised. We get kind of we see a different side of Homelander this season at times. So a few parts of the season, he's trying to create a connection with his son Ryan. Now, on the other end, we have the boys going on their separate missions. We also have the Deep joining a cult. That's its own thing. And we also have Stormfront trying to build like an army of supes and trying to bring Nazis back. I'm not really sure on what Stormfront's mission here is. This season we have 8 episodes. 3 of them were released all on one Friday, and then after that 5 of them were released one by one every week on a Friday, right? A lot of people didn't like that. I mean, it is what it is. That's how Amazon Prime decided to do it. But, whatever, the season already ended, and you can go back and watch the whole thing all at once if you really wanted to binge it. Now, I do have a problem with being 8 episodes long. I do wish it was a bit longer. I think it could have been better if this season was about 10 episodes long. Every episode is about an hour long, but the thing is we have so many moving pieces and so many threads and so many kind of side stories that 8 episodes just didn't feel like enough. It felt like at the end, on the 8th episode, we kind of rushed through a few things, kind of brushed over them. Like, for example, the whole Stormfront thing and how in like episode 7 or 6, she's telling Homelander how she wants like an army to fight for the culture, and she wants Homelander to be like their leader because blonde hair, blue eyes, right? She sees him as the perfect race or whatever, right? So she's the whole season she's saying how she wants to build an army. And then in episode 8, she just kind of, Ryan ends up blowing her arms and legs off, and she's dead? No, I don't think she's dead because Homelander did say at the end there that she is in a disclosed location. So I think she's still alive, and we will see her in season 3. But the thing is that this whole season, she was saying things that you were like, okay, so towards the end, when this is all wrapped up, we'll see what her big plan was. And I feel like there was a few moving stuff happening. Like, she was at rallies, she was getting people, she was spreading this propaganda. We saw that scene, that amazing opening in episode 7 with Fat Neil from Community, by the way. Through her spread of propaganda, this man decides to take matters into his own hands and ends up killing a man because of that. So we see that kind of happen, and that raises the stakes a little bit for what Stormfront's about to do. But I just feel like in episode 8, she was just kind of killed. That's it. Maybe, now, I don't know what season 3 is going to be about, so maybe in season 3 she comes back and she continues to do this whole trying to build an army thing, right? But it really felt like this whole season she was saying things, she was giving threats about how she's going to proceed and how she's going to be this big threat. And then at the end of episode 8, nothing really came of it. Now, I feel like this show, like I just said, could have used 10 episodes because kind of fleshing out all these story threads, you know? Maybe we could have had like 2 more episodes to give her more time to kind of build maybe a little bit of an army to make it more of a threat, that this thing that she's been saying is actually happening and that she needs to be taken care of. Because at the time when she gets burned by Ryan, she didn't really do anything. Actually, they ended up reversing everything because they released all the Nazi things. Oh, by the way, I love the way they kind of photoed. They straight up just had a picture of Stormfront with Hitler. I thought that was funny. Yeah, she ends up losing her fan base that she was building this whole season. And I do remember in one of the episodes, she specifically tells Starlight that she says how she's a fan of her and how she's going to be a big use for her. And I thought that that was going to lead somewhere. Like, oh, she has plans for Starlight that Starlight doesn't know yet, and she's kind of putting them in motion. But at the end of the day, nothing that Starlight really did helped Stormfront in any way. So on that end, like, that's just kind of an example of how I feel like at the end of episode 8, everything was just kind of rushed to finish some of these threads. The Deep's Church thing was kind of a throwaway at the end of it all. Like, he didn't even get to the 7. He just ends up leaving the church at the end of it all. I guess the writers play like a long game with the church. Like, at some point later in the season, A-Train joins the church, and that's how he gets the files about Stormfront, and that's how A-Train gets back into the 7. But the church thing, it felt like it was going to be a bigger threat than it actually was. Like, what was in the frescoes? Everybody was speculating that the frescoes were like drugged or something. I don't know. The frescoes seemed like they were nothing. They were just frescoes. And A-Train gets back into the 7, and the Deep is told to fuck off pretty much. I feel strange saying that the show could have used a little bit better pacing because honestly, I enjoyed all of the episodes. They're all very well paced with action and drama and great character moments. There's a lot of character development for each and every character gets a lot of character development throughout the season, and I really like that. And it feels like every episode is exciting, something new happens. You're never left bored, right? But as a whole, when you look at it, it just feels like something was rushed there at the end. And again, the season could have used some time. Could have been 10 episodes long. I feel like 10 episodes would have been like the perfect time, right? Now, Becca dying is actually a very good point of the story because it feels like if she would have survived, Butcher would have just left with her and that would have been the end of Butcher's story. But we can't lose Butcher, right? So Becca had to go. Boys is a fantastic satire. It has a lot of great political references to the real world, to the real political climate of America. A lot of references to Make America Great and Donald Trump and Republicans and all of that. There's even a small reference of Victoria Newman, the new congresswoman, who is going to be the bad guy of season 3, maybe. She's a reference to AOC. There's another congresswoman in real life. So there's a lot of these little references sprinkled in, and The Boys is just a great satire because last season it was all kind of about show business. We were getting introduced to the world, and we learned that the superhero game is all kind of show business, you know? How many points you have, how many fans you have, followers. It's all of that. So season 1, I would say, was a satire on show business, but then it just kind of, in season 2, it started to shift towards politics. My other gripes with season 2 is that the writing sometimes presents an issue that does not seem to be there. For example, we start off the season with them being like, oh, we're the most wanted people in the country. That's gonna be tough for us to get around places. And it does seem like it could be. Like, what, are we gonna have to like wear disguises, you know, hide in a crowd? What are we gonna do to kind of not get caught, right? Because we are the most wanted people in the country. But the boys have no problem doing everything that they do normally. For example, Kimiko and Frenchie are straight up, no disguises, no hats, no nothing, are in this rally that's watching Stormfront give a speech. They're just in the rally right in the middle. Nobody's pointing out, being like, hey guys, those are the fugitives we're all looking for. Like, look at them, they're over there. The boys just have no problem getting around anywhere. Now, whether that's me nitpicking or not, I don't know. I don't think it is, because the writing says it's a problem, but then doesn't show it as a problem. Huey, Starlight, and MM go on this cross-country road trip where they sit in the diner, no disguises, no hats. They don't even try the Marvel hat thing. You know, Marvel, where they wear caps as disguises. They don't even try that. They're just out in the open in their plain clothes. So this whole thing of being the most wanted people in the country is not a problem whatsoever. After Mallory gives Butcher Becca's location, she's like, oh, she's kept in a Vought facility. Armed to the teeth. Gonna be tough to get in. No, it's not. He throws a rope over the wall, climbs it, jumps in, stays there for a day or two, jumps back out, gets out of there, no problem. It's like, why would you even say it's a problem then if you're not gonna show it as a problem? Like, why would you have Mallory say that it's like, it's armed to the teeth? You know, I would have been fine with her not saying that and being like, because now that you said it, I expect it to be hard for him to get in, not just to throw a rope over the wall and jump over it. Listen, I get it. We all hate him. He's a sociopath. He is the worst. I can admit that. But he is the guy you love to hate. And that is mainly due to the amazing performance by Anthony Starr. Anthony Starr is at a 100% every single time he's on screen as Homelander. It is just beautiful acting. I loved his performance so much this season. I think this guy deserves an Emmy. Unfortunately, I don't think he's gonna be nominated or even get an Emmy because it's a superhero show. It's The Boys. It's a little bit edgy, you know? So he might get looked over, but this guy's performance as Homelander is fan-freaking-tastic. One of my favorite scenes is in episode 1 when he is talking to Blind Spot and he's acting like he's impressed by him. And you're like, oh yeah, okay, he's impressed by this guy's powers. And then he goes, let me ask you a question. And you're like, oh fuck. Oh my god, no, not the question. No, don't ask him a question. Do not ask him a question. And he goes, what happens if I do this? BOMB! And smacks his ears. And this guy's eardrums explode and he's bleeding. And he switches it. He switches it on the dime. And he goes to evil Homelander and he's yelling at Ashley and he's all up in her face. Homelander is extremely intimidating. He is one of the best villains I have ever seen. And that is due to the writing and to the performance. Because I think the writing knows what they're doing with Homelander. They know that the character they have is Superman, but a sociopath. A guy who would kill everybody and has the capability of destroying everything. He is not good like Superman. When you see Superman on screen, you know he's not going to hurt innocent people, right? Because he is Superman. But with Homelander, in season 1, we've already established that he is the worst and he will hurt everybody if he has to. So every single time he is on screen, every single time he enters a room, it's always just like, you're sitting at the edge of your seat and you're hoping that he doesn't kill anybody. When somebody raises their voice at him, or it seems like he doesn't like something somebody said, you're like, oh fuck, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead. No, that's it. Bye. You're dead. The writers know what kind of character they have, and they know what they can do with him. So they know what kind of tension levels to set up in every scene with him. They know to utilize that you know what he can do, and kind of play psychological games with you. That like even, it feels like nobody's safe. Not Ryan, not Becca, not even Stormfront. Nobody's safe. He can hurt anybody. Now, the only time I did not feel that was in episode 1. Absolutely loved this scene. When he walks into Stan Edgar's office, who is played by Giancarlo Esposito, who is a fantastic actor. Once he walked into that room, once Homelander walked into that office, I was just geeking out. I was like, oh my god, let's go. Let's see some amazing acting here. He threatens Edgar, and Edgar is just looking at him like, not impressed at all. And then he lays down to Homelander what it's really all about. And he straight up tells him, you're wrong, you mean nothing to Vought, and you're a man-child. That is the first time I think we've ever seen somebody at that power disrespect Homelander. Not even Stillwell did that last season. And that is the only time that I was like, nah, Edgar's safe. And that is two just heavyweight actors going at it with fantastic performances. That's when I really felt like somebody for the first time ever shut down Homelander. Quick side note on Stan Edgar, Giancarlo Esposito. I wish there was more of him this season. They introduced him later in season 1 for like a quick scene. Then in episode 1 he played a huge role. And then in episode 2 and 3 he was there a little bit. And then he just disappeared for a lot of the season. And then he came back towards the end. He had like a brief cameo somewhere in the middle with Black Noir. That's about it. I wish they utilized him more. I hope that he has a much bigger role in season 3. Because I was really, after watching that first episode, I was really excited to see him more this season because he is just that great of an actor. And then they just kind of sidelined him for a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know what the reason for that was. There were some big scenes that I kind of think he would have been in. Like the epic courtroom scene where everybody's head's being blown off. I mean, that is America suing or putting on trial Vought. And the guy that's in charge of Vought was not there. I found that a little weird. That's just me nitpicking. But yeah, I wish Giancarlo Esposito was more in this season. But I'm glad they kept him alive because that means he's in season 3. I remember earlier in the season, I was really thinking, I was like, okay, what's this guy's kryptonite, man? Because even Superman has a kryptonite. Like, what is his weakness? How are we gonna get this guy? And I was so blind to it. I can't believe I was so blind to it. Because as the season was progressing, I realized that his kryptonite was his craving for attention, you know? How he wants his fan base, his image, and he doesn't want that to be ruined. He wants to be loved by everybody. Maeve friends him that video and tells him that if she puts this video out there, you know, nobody will love him or he will have no fans. And that's when he just drops it all. He even gives up Ryan, who he's been fighting for this whole season, trying to be a dad. What his image looks like to the public is much more important to him than his own son. Also, loved when Butcher picked up Ryan and straight up walked past Homelander. That is such a power move. That is such a big FU to Homelander. Absolute power move. Let's talk about another star in this show, and that is Karl Urban's Butcher. Now, Butcher is great. Karl Urban is fantastic in this performance. He gives like a very Jack Sparrow-y vibe to Butcher. He says cunt a lot as well. What I love about Butcher is that he seems like the good guy. Like, we know he's the good guy, but that's only because on the other side is Homelander, and we know Homelander is that much worse. But Butcher is not a good guy. He shows that in the first few episodes of this season when he is straight up willing to drop his whole team. He does not care. He just wants to get to Becca. That is his road of destruction. His team sticks by him. They will do anything for him. But he's a dick. He is hard to deal with. He will just drop everybody if he has to. He will sacrifice them for Becca and for himself. He will do anything just to get what he wants. He's not a good guy. And him and Homelander are two sides of the same coin in a way like that. Because we've also seen Butcher kill innocent people just because he got mad at them. But again, we know Butcher is the good guy because we've seen him do more good things. And on the other side is Homelander, who is absolutely evil. Karl Urban, again, just like Anthony Starr, does a fantastic job with Butcher. And if somebody else played Butcher, he probably wouldn't be that likable. It's a lot of Karl Urban's charisma that he brings to Butcher. But yeah, Butcher, we see a lot of vulnerable sides from Butcher this season. We get a lot of backstory. We find out what happened with him and Becca tells a bit about his history, and we find out about his parents, his aunt, his dad. His dad invites him on a very weird conversation on a balcony, which plays in later to Butcher's mindset when it comes to him being a role model or a father figure to Ryan. It plays in later, but it's just kind of a weird conversation that they had. Favorite two scenes from Butcher this season was in episode 7 when he's intimidating Bomb, and he's like sitting in that chair and he's sipping the tea, and he tells him how he's gonna kill his whole family. Fantastic, great acting there, super intimidating. And in episode 8, when Becca dies and Becca tells him his last words, to keep Ryan safe. By the way, what a great mother Becca is. Let's give her a round of applause. She's a fantastic mother. In her dying moments, she cares so much about Ryan that she tells Butcher, hey man, listen, like, in her dying moments, like, it's not his fault. Like, take care of him. He's good. Like, just do good by him. And I love Butcher. He grabs that crowbar, and the look on his face, oh man, you could see the pain and anger. Amazing performance in that scene by Karl Urban. My favorite character besides Butcher and Homelander this season is Mother's Milk, or Raven, I think his real name is, or MM. Let's call him MM. He is fantastic this season. I really liked him in the first 3 episodes because we find out that he is the leader that the boys need. And he really shows that this season. He takes command. He sees that Huey is not cut out for this. So when Huey is kind of losing it completely, and Butcher's telling him, fuck off, like, you're a child. I don't want to take care of this because I have to go do this. MM's like, nah, I understand. Like, come here. Like, we'll talk, breathe. Everything's going to be fine. And I really like that from MM this season. I really like that he decided to take Huey under his wing and be kind of the carer for the team and be the leader that they needed. Laz Alonso brings a lot of swagger to this character, and yeah, I just like that he got to do much more this season than last season because MM is a fantastic character. One of my other favorite characters, who was my favorite character from season 1, is Frenchie. Now Frenchie this season, I would say, kind of takes a back seat a little bit. In the first few episodes, he doesn't do much. Somewhere in the middle, in episode 6, he gets a moment to shine. That's a whole episode with Lamplighter, who's played by Shawn Ashmore, who played Iceman in the X-Men. I know everybody knows that, everybody already said that, but I gotta say, that was a cool little switcheroo to make him pretty much Pyro now. In that episode, we finally find out what Frenchie did that was so bad that MM keeps referencing with Mallory's grandkids and Lamplighter killing them. We finally find out some backstory about that. So I guess that moment, that's where Frenchie gets to shine in that episode. But for majority of the season, he kind of takes a backseat. Him and Kimiko kind of chill. Although Kimiko, I gotta say, is slowly starting to become one of my favorite characters. I mean, she's a soup on the boys' team. She's badass. She can kick ass. She's awesome, right, in that perspective. In the first 3 episodes, though, we get a lot of story about her, and I was surprised. I was like, okay, we're learning a lot about her here. We see her brother. We learn about why she doesn't talk, this fake language that she created with her brother. I thought that was great. And when that 3rd episode ended and I had to wait a week for episode 4, I was like, okay, cool. We're setting up something cool here for Kimiko. She's gonna absolutely murder Stormfront when it comes time to it. I'm excited for her for the rest of the season. And after that episode 3, she just kind of doesn't do much, actually. That's important to the story, I would say. It's important to her character, but in the grand scheme of the story, I was kind of expecting more after that episode 3 where her brother gets murdered by Stormfront, right? They were really setting up that she was going to do something major. But, she's an important member of the boys, but I just expected her part to be much bigger than it was after that whole setup. Her and Frenchie go off on these little side stories a little bit. It seems like the writers were just like, okay, after this episode 3, we gotta take Butcher to Becca. We gotta go take these characters here. What am I gonna do with Frenchie and Kimiko? Anybody? Oh, she's gonna go be a hitman for an episode or 2, and Frenchie's just gonna follow her? Okay, yeah, great. No, that sounds good. Okay, we're gonna do that. I gotta say that, like, every character gets decent amount of character development this season. I feel like even those characters that get a small part to play, those small parts are them developing as characters. We find out more about them, their ideologies, and what they're all about. Like Kimiko, we find out all her backstory, and the whole sign language thing, Frenchie, his backstory. MM, we find out his qualities of being a leader. With Huey, we find out Huey things with Billy Joe and all that stuff. And so every character, doesn't matter how big or small they are, get to develop this season, and I appreciate the writers for focusing on their characters and really giving them at least 1 or 2 moments for every character to shine. With Stormfront, I've already said in the beginning when I was talking about the story how I felt that her whole thing kind of fell flat for me. With the performance, I think Aya Cash is pretty good as this character. She's definitely the villain that you absolutely hate. She is the worst. I mean, you just hate her more than Homelander. At one point, you're just rooting. You're like, listen, Homelander, like, you're gonna fucking kill her at some point. You gotta do this, man. Like, you know she's not good for you. You know she's manipulating you, right? Yeah, I love how in episode 8, you can definitely see that when she's talking to Ryan about this whole white genocide thing, Homelander's kind of looking at her like, what the fuck? Like, this, what is she on about? Ryan, don't listen to that. I gotta say, I absolutely love when The Boys takes a piss out of an actual superhero movie that we have. I was dying laughing at this scene where Maeve, Starlight, and Kimiko absolutely beat the shit out of Stormfront. Not only because I hate Stormfront, but also that whole reference that they had with Girls Get It Done to, it has to be a reference to the Endgame scene, right? Where all the girls get together in that one Endgame, the final battle, right? It has to be a reference to that, right? But Endgame is like more like classy, right? All these girls getting together in their cool superhero poses and running at the army and kicking ass. In this show, it's literally 3 females beating the fuck out of another female, stomping on her, calling her bitch while they do it. I absolutely love how The Boys just decide to be different. The Boys do whatever the fuck they want to do. It is great. Their version of female empowerment is 3 women just stomping another woman and calling her bitch, man. It was just hilarious to see, man. They do it however the fuck they want to do it. This show barely has any superhero fights, like superheroes fighting versus superheroes. It's a lot of drama, great character moments, great writing, great conversations. But when it comes to the superhero fights, guess how they end? They end in one of the superheroes going down because of his tree nut allergy. Absolutely love that, because it's so on brand for The Boys to do that. They do whatever they want, so if they want to end a fight scene where a super badass ninja who can't be destroyed in any kind of way goes down because of his peanut allergy, or because of his tree nut allergy, should I be more accurate? I don't know if there's a difference. That's just hilarious. That is great. That is The Boys brand. The Boys. We do superheroes different. Quick side note on Maeve. She was alright this season. Like a lot of things, at the end of the season she came good with the whole video and stopping Homelander. Yep, that's how it goes. Maeve's girlfriend is kind of the worst. She goes on this thing of like, Maeve, we can only have a relationship if like I know like the real you gotta tell me the truth. But when things get real, Elena dips. She's like, I'm fucking out of here. I don't want to be here. And to be fair to Elena, you know, she tried to keep her distance from Maeve, and Maeve kept coming back to her and trying to have this relationship. But if Elena kept on telling her, hey, like, you gotta tell me the truth, and when she does tell her the truth, she's like, I'm fucking gone out of here. You're weird, Maeve. It's kind of weird, you know, kind of weird the way they treated that. I found the Deep story with the church more interesting than Maeve's relationship with Elena. Are we done with the church? Is that it? Did the Deep just leave the church now? I guess maybe they were like, listen, the Deep, like, we don't know what we're going to do with you this season, so go do this church thing, go recruit A-Train. We're playing the long game. A-Train's going to get the file, going to expose Stormfront, and we're going to play the long game with this church thing. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the church thing is going to play into season 3, whether it's going to be carried on through the Deep, how that affected him, or what. But this whole church thing just also was like really weird. The Deep had a few funny moments this season. The Boys is actually really hilarious. It's edgy, so it has a lot of dark humor in it. I absolutely love dark humor, so The Boys is just, it's funny, it's great, it's amazing. And finally, just quickly, let's touch upon this. Victoria Newman turns out to be the woman that kills everybody in that courtroom. So is she the main bad guy for season 3? I don't know. I don't know where season 3 is gonna go. I'm interested to see where some of these stories go. It seems like Mallory is forming her own version of the Suicide Squad with The Boys, and it seems like Huey is now gonna go with Victoria, and my prediction is that he's gonna see her do something fucked up, and he's gonna go back to The Boys and be like, yo guys, this chick, she's crazy. So I'm interested into what Victoria Newman's whole goal is here of why she killed everybody in that courtroom, why she killed the FBI lady, why she's doing all of this, and I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm also interested to see where Homelander's story goes, because he doesn't have Ryan anymore, he doesn't have Becca, he doesn't have Stormfront, but he has his fans. I guess he has that. So I'm interested to see where a lot of these stories go. I feel like there's a lot of great potential for season 3 to be absolutely great. But yes, The Boys season 2, it's great, it's fantastic. I really liked it. It does have a few pacing issues towards the end. It does move a little fast to the finish line. Like I said, it could use 2 episodes or maybe 1 more episode to kind of just flesh some things out there, to kind of just get us over the finish line a little more smoothly. And again, the writing at times can be a little lazy, but maybe that's me nitpicking. Let me know if I'm nitpicking with the whole wall thing and Most Wanted thing.
Also, let's see what we do with Ryan in Season 4, because we basically just let go of Homelander 2.0, although personality-wise, he's not like Homelander. Like, superpower-wise, he is like Homelander. And what, are we just gonna let him out into the world and never return to him? I think in Season 3 we will return to him at some point. I would like them to just catch up to see what Ryan's doing. I'm fine with him hiding and trying to live a normal life, but let's see what he's doing. Plus, I like the little kid that they cast to play Ryan. I think the boy's very talented. So I'm looking forward to seeing just a little bit more of Ryan, just to see where his story goes next, because I don't think we can just leave him. Like, he's gone and that's it. One last thing is that I really want to give a shout out to everybody who made this project possible behind the scenes, because there's a lot of things on the production side that are really good. Like, for example, the visual effects are outstanding, and I think the makeup department with the prosthetics, they combine all of that with the visual effects to make those gross scenes look really gross and awesome at the same time. Like all the heads popping and Stormfront that's fried, has no legs, has no arms. All of that just looks great, and I think everybody's kind of working together here to make those things look great. Some of it is visual effects, some of it is practical. So I just want to give a shout out on that front, that the people working on this series behind the scenes did a fantastic job. Also, a huge shout out to the arts and props department for filling out every background of every scene with some kind of new prop superhero thing that they made up themselves. Because in a world where superheroes are commercialized like athletes, it makes perfect sense that when you walk into a grocery store, A-Train will be on every single Gatorade bottle. A Homelander will be on every single cereal box. And that's what it is. In the backgrounds of every scene, when somebody's out in the city, in New York, or in the store, the backgrounds are filled in with different unique props that fit the theme of the show, with heroes in the backgrounds. So I think that's really fun, and that really helps the world building.
I'm gonna give The Boys Season 2 a "that was fucking diabolical." Now, I realize that sounds bad, but it's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. Fine, if that doesn't suit you, 9 out of 10, A-, whatever, whatever, take those ratings, it's fine. I realize that the show gets a lot of hate on Amazon Prime in terms of the ratings, although it actually is doing very well in terms of viewership. But a lot of those ratings on Amazon Prime, like if you're gonna look at the star rating, just read the reviews. It's a lot of Karens yelling about how they don't like how violent the show is, or how much there's a lot of cursing. It's dumb. But anyways, The Boys Season 2 was great. I really liked it, and I'm really looking forward to Season 3. Apparently, we're not gonna get a Season 3 for another 2 years, so that's sad. That's really sad. But yes, in the comments, let me know who is your favorite The Boys character and why. And did you like Season 1 better than Season 2? Or did you like Season 2 more than Season 1? I'm still thinking about it. I would say Season 2 I like more, but that's just because I just came off the high of Season 2, right? Maybe Season 1 is better. I don't know. But yes, leave all down in the comments, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate all of that. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.